I think that we can start moving to the next talk. Okay, here I'm going to put on live Ismael and also Laia. How are you doing? Are you ready?
Hello. Ready? Yes.
So.
Yes,
Cool. Perfect. So then I will just give you the mic, and you can continue with your presentation and your talk.
Thanks, Juan, and thanks for the
thank you.
organization. Well, here we are. Hello to everyone, and thanks for joining. We are going to talk about team metrics and also about predictability. Today, Laia and myself will share with you an initiative we have been working on, but we weren't alone. We want to also give credit to the rest of our teammates of the Agile crew in Adevinta Spain, because this is something that we were creating together. For today, the agenda will be that first we will give you some context and information about our journey. Later, we will show you the elements of our team metrics framework and a small demo. And finally, we want to share with you the main elements and next steps. So let's start with a phrase. It's teams make better decisions when they do so based on their own metrics. As a result, they become more predictable. It can sound quite obvious when you hear this or similar phrases like this one, but for us, the real challenge was, how can we help them? What can we do to achieve this desired situation? So during this presentation, we will share with you our framework to boost teams to make better decisions based on their own metrics to reach a greater predictability. Also, to set expectations, we are in the middle of our journey and maybe we will never finish it. But following our Adevinta's behavior, we wanted to share our experience of what we have created, just in case it can help you. So let's go. A starting point, that was where we were a few time ago. What all our teams were analyzing when looking for things to improve based on their metrics, the sprint report and the velocity chart from Jira. It wasn't obvious what was exactly happening during the sprints. Also, we wanted our teams dig deeper in their metrics, but it wasn't easy for them to scratch the info. And we think that metrics must be a commodity, but over the top, metrics must provide valuable information the team can use, and they have to be visual. This way is how you can take a quick look at them and have the feeling that everything is okay or not. This report wasn't enough for us. So we started our journey. In 2019, we wanted to prove the lead time teams were delivering. So we introduced a proxy metric that teams could work on it. It was the development cycle time. We created a custom field in Jira and a dashboard gadget to provide autonomy to the teams when they wanted to consult the info or search for improvement. With this first step, introducing new metrics to the teams, we got the first learning. Before we can dig deeper in analyzing process metrics, we need some agreements on how to classify items teams backlog. That's why we created a common language between teams by defining issue types and kinds of demands. And later we will tell you more about this. After introducing this improvement, we needed graphics that could exploit the new information, and we created a spreadsheet as an MVP. We tested it with a small group of teams, and after using them for some time, they gave us some feedback. The first time you have to analyze your process metrics can be overwhelming, and it could be helpful to include some instructions, and we added tips to each of the graphics. It also helped to reduce the learning curve it has. After that, we thought it could be great if you could access to a unique place, and there you could find all your team metrics, making it easier to consult. With this idea, we created a Google Sites as a new MVP. And later, this was 2021, a new need came from our management with a concrete question to solve. It's based on teams metrics inside my area. Can I have some general metrics that can give me a first input of information on how we are? We created this aggregated data. We know that investing time introducing data manually is a clear waste of time. After some development, we connect the spreadsheet with Jira, and we reach all this information by automation, and that was a booster. And finally, based on learnings from teams applying different rules for estimating and what effect they have in the predictability, we decided to redefine our standards to introduce a new improvement in all our teams when doing estimations. And these are the most relevant moments in our personal experience. If I have to point a moment which was most relevant, I would say that in 2020, when we created the spreadsheet with graphics to exploit the data, was a break-even. But to know more what is about our framework, I give way to Laia, that she will explain better what it has. So Laia, please.
Yeah, thanks, Ismael. Hello, everyone. So let's go and see in detail the content of this framework. As Ismael said, we've created a framework that provides teams with the option to have visibility on what's their process and what they can improve to be more high-performing. So the framework includes a set of tools with this purpose, and these tools are the following. First, as seen, part of the framework are the common agreements that teams need to implement so that the data in the framework is coherent. Second tool is the team detail data, which is the core tool in the framework. A third tool is the vertical aggregated tool, which was born from the need of managers to visualize team metrics aggregated by vertical or by area. And the last component is the accessibility and sharing tool that provides visibility of all the metrics of a team in one single place. We'll explain now how we've structured the different demands and the related JIRA issue types so that you can understand better the data provided in the framework. Okay, so yeah, let's go for it. These are the type of demands we have standardized. The goal of standardizing is to provide teams with data about the distribution of the capacity they invest in their sprints. This allows the teams to reflect on where their efforts go and be able to adjust them if needed. Then we have 4 demands. We can see them here. The growth demand. Inside this demand, we have all the tasks related to product or services creation or evolution. Then we have the run demand. And here we have the day-to-day support to running products without evolving them. That's the difference between run and grow. The fail demand inside this are typically product bugs. And finally, in the improvement demand, we have these small improvement actions implemented by the team, as well as fixing the tech debt. Okay, and what issue types we have inside each of the demands? So here it's depicted. We have in row the discovery JIRA issue type, the experiment one, the user stories, and the spikes. In run, we have the request, both internal if it's detected by the team, or external if it's requested by other team or whoever requested. And then inside the fail demand, we have bugs. And inside the improvement demand, we have debt, standing for tech debt, and the Kaizen, which are typically that actions that the teams create in their retrospectives. Okay, so having now a clearer vision of the standardization of the demands and issue types, let's go into deeper detail for the first tool in the framework, which is the team detail data. It's one of the core tools of the framework, and it's a tool for the Scrum teams to analyze their process in a very visual way, as data is provided in the form of graphics. The tool is linked with JIRA, so the team can update the data automatically every time they close a sprint and have so up-to-date information. The teams can then analyze their process data, for instance, in their sprint reviews. And to facilitate the analysis of each of the graphics, especially for the first times a team is using the tool and does not know it, each graphic has a help text below that explains what data is being displayed, as well as a list of questions which can serve as a guide for the team analysis. Okay, and next is what kind of graphics we have in this tool. Well, we have graphics that tell about predictability, that is, how predictable are teams planning their sprints. Also, what's the velocity in story points a team has, the throughput as the quantity of story points delivered per time unit, the capacity investment on demands as well, cycle time of tasks, number of unplanned story points per sprint, and as well specific graphics filtering data per demand. Okay, so let's navigate now through the tool in a live demo. And now, yeah, thanks, Ivan. Great. So this is the tool. As you can see, there are many tabs here, but we'll be talking about the two main ones, which is the global one and the analysis per demand one. Okay, regarding the global one. First, we have some graphics about the team's predictability. We have a graphic here on the left that compares for each sprint here, compares the planned story points versus the delivered, the done story points. And these are done story points that were planned in green and done story points that were not planned. So that was findings unplanned during the sprint. And these are the orange ones. And yeah, and on the left, on the right, sorry, we have another predictability graphic that centers in grow. This is taking all the tasks related to the grow demand, and it's summing up their story points. And here we have a percentage, that is the percentage of commitment met at the end of the sprint regarding the grow demand. Okay, the good thing that a team is gets predictable, and this graphic displays so, is that if a team is predictable, can do midterm planning with a high degree of feasibility. For this, we are in Adevinta Spain, the predictability of teams is quite important. Okay, now next we have a graphic that is very similar to the previous one, but instead of counting story points, is counting in number of tasks. Okay, and we have here information. The yellow bar is information about tasks that has been removed from the sprint. Okay, next we have graphics about the cycle time. You can see here the cycle time of the team. There are many lines. We are focusing on the red line, which is the percentile 85. And each of these numbers is the cycle time in the percentile 85 that the team has for each of the sprints. Okay, for instance, this team in the last sprint has got a cycle time of 7. 7 means 7 days. And here on the right, the team can see a drill down of this 7 in the different issue types, the cycle time of the different issue types. For instance, the user story, the cycle time for user story is 8 days for them, and for bugs is 4 days. Okay. Next, we have graphics on the demands distribution. Yeah, here we have the throughput per demand and the not planned issues. That means that for each sprint, we're displaying how many tasks they've been able to deliver in each of the demands. And the yellow line shows the number of issues that were unplanned. The same here for story points. Instead of number of task story points. And here on the right, we have average distribution of the demands in the last 4 sprints, in number of tasks again, and then in story points. Imagine we are this team, we are in a retrospective, and we've seen that our cycle time is going up and up. We have 5, 6, 6, 7, and we see here that user story has 8 days of cycle time, and we want to investigate further on. We can go here to the analysis per demand, and as user story are belonging to the grow demand, we go to the grow area. As this tab is displaying graphics filtered by demand. For instance, we have for grow some graphics with the specific data for the grow issue types. Then we have graphics for run, graphics for fail, and graphics for improvement. And this thing would go here and say, okay, let's look for the graphic about user story cycle time. What has happened? Look, in the last sprints, we had a cycle time of 5 for user stories. Then it went to 5, okay, then 6, then 7, and now 8. Okay, it has gone up and up. And now we can discuss what has happened and think if that's okay for us because it has got a sense, or if we want to create some actions to get it down again. Okay, this is all I wanted to display about the tool, the live demo tool. Now let's go back to the presentation. Thanks, Joan. Okay, and last for this tool, we want to tell you where is it used. Well, mainly teams use it for the sprint reviews to analyze their process data, for the retrospective in the case I just told you, in case they want to go deeper on some issue they found in the review, and also for the planning to query their velocity and plan the next sprint accordingly. And for managers, the tool is also useful to have an idea of the points of the process the teams are struggling with and provide them support. Okay, that's the overview of this first tool, the team detail data, and now I hand over to Isma so that he can explain the rest of the tools.
Okay, thanks, Laia. Well, we will see the third element in our framework. It is the vertical aggregated data. What we are doing here is to aggregate all the process metrics of all the teams that are under the same vertical or context. No? And as you can see from the image, to visualize this information, we are using similar graphics to the ones used for the teams. For the moment, it lets us have a first impression of the current situation in each vertical on average. Also, we decided to visualize the last 6 sprints, 3 months in time, because we considered this was enough scope to observe trends in time, and we added the possibility to filter by team. This way, our users could dig deeper inside the data. The normal users of this part of this tool are the managers, and they help them to give better support to the teams, identify common patterns, problems, etc. And this is the main purpose, no? Is to give support to the teams. But also in the organization, we have 2 improvement processes to check if everything is going well. We have the product and tech monthly review. It is a close look at a single vertical, and a part of the information shared there is the aggregated metric with insights of where we are putting efforts to improve. The other one is a business quarterly review, and it's an event at the end of each quarter where an opportunity to share between all different verticals this information and share some learnings. With all of this, we have seen the vertical aggregated data, and last but not least, we will see the fourth element. It is the accessibility and sharing tool. It was designed to pursue a bigger purpose, have all the teams' metrics in one single place. And we are not only talking about process metrics. We are also working to include accelerate metrics, self-sufficient teams, and more in the future, like experimentation statistics. The pain we want to solve, to have to solve, is a common situation. Imagine you are a member of a team, and you and your teammates are closing a sprint. Part of this session is to know how the team is behaving. Usually, to have this complete overview, your teams have to visit different sources because all the information is in different tools, and not everyone has access to them or know how to arrive. In our case, we have created a Google site with 2 visualizations, the big team view with the detailed data and the vertical view with the aggregated data. In these pages, we show the more relevant graphics as a summary, but if you want to more details, here you also can find the links to access to the original sources information. It is very easy to use because it's similar to a website, and if you have an account in the company, you have access to this information, providing a new level of transparency that we hadn't before. With all of this, we have seen the 4 elements, but we want to stress something more. We always recommend to have a conversation to know what is really happening, because data is only a part of a bigger story, but with all the tools presented, conversations are always more efficient and straight to the point. And with all of this presented, we want to continue with sharing learnings. So Laia.
Yeah, thanks again, Isma. So teams have been now using the framework for more than 1 year, and these are the learnings that we have identified. Regarding standardization, standardized backlog items is needed to be able to extract and analyze process data. And it also facilitates people mobility between teams because they have a common language. Also, that there's a wow effect when a team first sees its process metrics. The frameworks provide a great visibility for the teams to identify gaps and work on them. So work on efficiency and predictability and improvement actions. Also, the framework provides many data, and at first it can be a bit overwhelming because there's a lot of information to see, as you've been able to see. So the teams need to focus just on a few key metrics in each review to make the most of its analysis. Also, team improvement occurs when the team uses the team metrics framework together with analysis of data and improvement actions, because metrics visibility on its own won't bring an improvement to the team. And finally, that context is fundamental to understand the metrics. A value of a metrics can be good in one team, but need improvement in another team. So it's needed to understand the context of it. Okay, and finally, what are the next steps that we have in the pipeline regarding this framework? First, we are migrating to a new centralized visualization tool, Tableau, which is Tableau, because now we have the tools in different platforms, and this is difficult to maintain and sometimes to scale. We want also to evolve aggregated data to provide a better drill down from aggregating data to a specific team data, because sometimes just seeing aggregating data may hide some problems that the team have below that. Also, we want to do discovery on how to detect systemic issues from aggregated data and add qualitative data into the framework that complements the historic data. Okay, so that's all we wanted to tell you about our framework. And now we'll open the Q&A space so that you can make any question. So yeah, please write them down in the chat.
Good. Thank you for sharing, Laia and Ismael. What a dashboard! Amazing job. I have one question before jumping to one question that I saw Hugo putting here. Just quick question. If you had to choose the top 3 metrics in the dashboard, what would have been?
One of them could be cycle time, which is very connected to the late time of the velocity of the teams. But I will also see to the capacity, it's what was planned and what was delivered from this planet. It's not important to have a linear capacity, or a huge level of story points, but it's more important to know what exactly you are able to deliver in each sprint. This is knowing your capacity. This is how you can make plans later. And also the distribution of the different demands. It's what percentage it's in it. It's okay to have a 20% of growth in your team. Maybe it's because you give support. But if you are a product business connected team, maybe this has to be higher. What's behind that? These 3, I will say. I don't know if Laia will change one of these.
No, I would agree. These are the main ones, the ones that teams mainly use. So yeah, I fully agree with you.
Cool, thank you. Let's go for this one from Hugo. Nice question. How can you work towards a culture where management do not use the metrics to compare the teams? Wow.
Okay. Yeah, cultural issues are always difficult to work, but at the end, this is just a tool. So it's a tool useful for teams, for managers. Managers, if that's in the culture, managers can compare teams even if they don't have tools. So we think it's something to be worked besides the tool you are providing to the teams.
I will add also that you can, let me say, compare teams, but in a healthy way. It's if these 2 teams are very similar, why their metrics are so different? What is in the context of one team that is most difficult to deliver more growth or whatever? It's that the reason that this framework give more visibility, but also conduct the conversation, to avoid this. It's the first team is faster than you. Why is that? We have better detail, more information, but it depends on the people. It's what they do.
Good. let's move to the next one. Enrique, how is the aggregated report updated? Does it need any manual action? Yeah, good one. I was asking the thing to myself as well.
Okay. Yeah, the thing is that each team has got its team detail data tool, and so when they close a sprint in Jira, they need to go to the tool, and we have inserted a menu in the Google Sheets of that tool that says Jira update data. So teams close the Jira sprint and then go to the tool, refresh data through this menu, and then the data is updated. This is needed to be done by each of the teams because each team closes the sprint at a different time. So yeah, they do that. And after that, the aggregated Google Sheets is extracting data all alone from these individual team sheets. Yeah, so that's how it works.
That's also why we want to migrate to Tableau, no? Because there is some manual things that has to be maintained in order to be already and working.
Yeah, makes sense. Good. Herminia throw also another question. I've been publishing a very similar report since some years ago in Subito. Do teams you collect data for appreciate having metrics, and do they actually use data for improvements, I guess? So I guess the question is what the teams are doing with that data, which kind of improvements they are doing.
Yeah, they are doing really many improvements based on that. Depending on what's their focus, they analyze the data and do improvements there. For instance, a team that feels that it is in the last sprints investing a lot of time in bugs can go to the graphics about demand and know if this capacity invested in bugs has been so for how many sprints, and if it's much bigger now than the previous sprints, and how this is affecting to the grow capacity they invest. Yeah, so depending on the team context and the worries it has, it can focus on one graphic or another. But they are really a good source of information for teams improvements.
I will add something more. No, some of them are using this information for planning the future. No, they are facing a new quarter. They look at their previous quarter metrics, and with this information, they try to guess. No, it's a plan. They are guessing. No, but they recollect this information to project the future quarter and what will be their capacity, and it affects depending on the week of the quarter, and they see patterns and they apply it to their plans. This is quite good, but because it's connected with predictability also.
Good. And I think that this is also related with the second question that Eric put here. Just to flesh out your answer, have you ever detected a systemic issue or area of improvement from the aggregated data? Any change has been driven by these insights company-wise?
I have an example from one vertical. Sorry, Laia.
No, it's okay. Go ahead, please.
I have an example from one vertical, no, where systematically, the planet and delivered had a gap very high, no, and this is a problem. No, we plan more than we are able to deliver. Digging into the details, no, the aggregate show that trend, no. But digging in the details, we detected that two of the teams were facing more problems than the rest, no? And this make the aggregate to fall down. And we could have these conversations and try to correct, no? But giving support to the teams who need it. And maybe Laia have another example.
No, I was thinking about that, and this is the reason why we want to evolve this aggregated data we are displaying, so that it does not hide problems that there may be individually in teams because we are aggregating in a higher level. So that's something we will take into account when evolving the framework.
Good. Thank you for sharing. I have just one last question that came to my mind. because we were talking about how the teams are changing and improving through this data, but you also talk about management, right, in your presentation. So I would like also to know if you have any story about some change that management did thanks to this data.
Well, we have some cases of changes in the teams that were not requested by teams, but a part of the strategy of a vertical, and that this has impacted in teams' predictability, for instance, or in teams' velocity. So this is a real case, that the management, thanks to the data provided in the framework, has been aware of how the changes in team setup affect the performance of the teams. So it's something really very visual.
Okay. Thank you. So we are running out of time. So thank you very much for your presentation. Thank you very much for being here in the conference.
Thanks to you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.